So I don't really talk too much about the Meghan and Harry. And I've heard some people say that they were excited about the two of them getting married, and then I've heard some criticisms that have been negative, and some things that have been really bad. Um, but this right here, specifically, I wanted to do this video on this because over in the UK, racism isn't just here in the US. It's everywhere in some form, I'd like to say. If it isn't racism that you're dealing with classism, or you're dealing with colorism, or you're dealing with a mixed bag of some of everything. It could be, because of what family you were born from. Things sometimes that are not really in your control. Like, for example, your skin color, how you look, how you were born, genetically, phenotypically, what you look like, or um, the family that you were born into, if they're poor or if they are somebody that is a family that is working class, but they're not particularly wealthy, or they're not a royal family, they're just a regular nuclear family, or maybe they're not even a nuclear family, maybe they're a divorced family. It could be a number of things. People have their pick on being critical of things that people sometimes it's not even in their control of what they look like or what family they were born into. And this article was really heartbreaking because right away I saw, just from reading it, the pain that Meghan must be going through in her life, having to always explain herself and having to always feel like she has to get away from the people that have pretty much put a lot of pressure, and a lot of hurt, um, through these tabloids and these news media outlets. Ever since I feel like this, ever since she got married to Harry, I feel like people have just not really given the woman a break. And it's sad because over there in that area of, you think of London and Paris and Britain, Great Britain. You think of you know royalty and history, and maybe if you're looking at it from the positive side. However, everywhere, just like here in the U.S., there's places that are you would think that you want to go see, and then you find out there's always a dark history or a dark side to it. And so anyway, this right here was really sad because I don't know, maybe other people have been following this a little more than I have, but I thought specifically this person, Andrew Pierce, he's a senior Daily Mail editor. Okay, so he has now sparked or prompts, as it says, he prompts outrage for questioning Meghan Markle's race. And so even in the UK or the United Kingdom, everywhere you go, there's going to be something about race. And I feel, honestly, to be honest with you, before I even start looking at this article and reading it out, is that they didn't like the fact that Harry got married to a woman that has a black mother, or that is considered partially or half black. And she can say she's mixed race all she wants, and I know that's at politically correct wise, that's the thing to say. But in the eyes of people such as these people that she's being harassed and hounded and berated by, she is not white, considered all white. And from the saying that I've heard, and it is true, the way people look at the way she's being hounded. When I read this, you'll see what I'm talking about. When you have any ounce of black DNA in your family line, you are not considered part of the fold of white America. Okay? That sounds hard to say it that way, but that is the way people are treated. And I'm going on this because you'll see in a minute. This is the reason why this comes about, and this is why even black people that are black know this, because we know how we've been treated here in America. But if you want to go around calling yourself mixed race and half of this and a quarter of that, yeah, we know black people have other admixtures, and some of us can pass for something else. And you know what I'm talking about, those of you that do. But if you are anywhere, if you got a black mama, a black daddy, I don't care, a black grandma, somewhere, somebody's black somewhere, you are not white. No matter how much you try to be. I mean, some people can pull that off for a while, but if they start uncovering, they as people who are racist, people who are white supremacist, people who look at that whole culture of white supremacy as being pure white, meaning they don't want any other admixture of anything. They're not inclusive, put it that way. That's their attitudes. That's who I'm referring to. Their attitudes is not being inclusive of this mixing of the race. They want this purity. And that's the way their mindset is. Half of this and half of that and a smidgen of that and a smidgen, you are not white. And for the Hispanic people, same for you. The ones that want to be. That's where they get that wannabe white stuff. Because you look a certain way or because you have this percentage of white. Yeah, percentage wise. If you are not 100%, you forget it. If you got anybody somewhere in there that's something else, they don't consider you a part of the fold. And so Andrew Pierce, he's a senior Daily Mail editor, and he prompts this outrage for questioning Meghan Markle's race. Okay, so this right here is going to get into colorism. It's going to get into also Oprah. And she's the one that's doing right now. She, I think it's already out. She did a 90-minute episode with Prince Harry and Meghan. I hope I said that correctly. So Meghan Markle is expected to discuss racism in the UK. See, it starts off like that. In her sit down with Oprah Winfrey that airs on Sunday. So ever since she married Harry, that's what's been going on. I already knew they weren't going to accept her, no matter how she looks. She can be as white as the driven snow, but if she has just a pinch of black in her, you're not in the fold. And I want to tell you why, because I feel like there's a lot of sarcasm and snootiness in that culture over there when it comes to race. That sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall and sit for those dinners they were having, and those what do they have, tea time, and they have that time where they have their tea and their sit down and their little family dinners. That must have been extremely uncomfortable, because they don't have a problem with coming out and saying things that are offensive. And I'm sure that she had dealt with that, and she dealt with that, and after a while, Harry said, "That's it, we're out of here." They didn't split and leave for no reason at all, just because they wanted to see the sun shine and the beaches here in California. They left because of this very reason here, to discuss this issue, she says, in the UK about racism, in the sit down with Oprah. So it was so bad over there that that girl, she had to move. Take her baby, her mixed race baby, as they want to call it, and move herself back over to a place where most people are of different backgrounds, and hopefully she can escape some of that racism that snooty racism is what I call it. And so in a depressing illustration of the problem which Prince Harry has previously described as, he calls it, structural in Britain, I call it snooty racism. That's what I call it. And it is structural. He's right. So a prominent British journalist and frequent critic of Meghan Markle is under fire after launching an extraordinary and racist attack on her. And that's not the first time this has happened. This has been many times. And so she's just, they're done with it. And so Oprah's doing the sit down with these two people. And so, in which he appeared to suggest the fact that he thinks that she's attractive. Okay, now listen to this. Attractive meant that she could not be a victim of racism. Andrew Pierce, he's a senior editor at the Daily Mail who is a regular guest on British TV and radio shows, and was hosting a talk radio show Wednesday when a caller suggested that Meghan had never been fully accepted because of her skin color. So Pierce, who he's white, responded, "Oh God, that one again? Do you look at her and see a black woman? Because I don't. I see a very attractive woman. It's never occurred to me. I never look at her and think, gosh, she's black." Okay? In the way you look at Oprah Winfrey, you would be in no doubt. Now he compares Meghan to Oprah because of skin color and how they look. So when they sit down, going back to what he was saying, and do that interview, you will see a black woman called Oprah Winfrey. And you will see a woman who describes herself as a woman of color. That's referring to Meghan. This is what Andrew Pierce is basically saying. So her mother is black. She's from a mixed race family, of course. But I just don't think people look at Meghan and think, oh, I hate her because of her skin color. So I don't see it. I don't buy it. And so I suppose this right here was on Twitter, and this was 5 men character assassinating a woman. No wonder Meghan left the UK. This was uncomfortable to watch. And so these men, all white, this is what they were doing. Basically, pretty much the focus was on Meghan. So this is the reality women face daily. Disgusting. And so look at all of these faces here. Not a black one in sight. And so just a reminder of who Andrew Pierce is. And so this right here, I'm not going to press it. You can go back to the article and you can look at it yourself. But in his statement, Pierce utilizes colorism. Okay. The concept that because Meghan Markle is a fairer complexion, she cannot be a victim of racism. Instead, he compares her to Oprah Winfrey, implying that the media mogul, darker skin color, is not seen as being attractive because her features are overwhelmingly black. So what is he saying, or what are they saying about black people in general? So that is extremely insulting. So this has been the case for a number of famous women. So Michelle Obama constantly endured negative feedback about her looks before her husband even officially took his place in the White House. And by highlighting Markle's lighter skin, it not only is Pierce diminishing her experiences, but also perpetuating understanding or misunderstandings about the racism. So Pierce, he's a frequent critic of Meghan Markle and had earlier in the day been a guest on the British TV show Good Morning Britain. So it's like Good Morning America, but in Britain. So the segment in which he had appeared was criticized for featuring 5 white men talking about Meghan Markle. They basically were tearing the woman down. So Pierce attacked Meghan as hypocritical on the show over allegations she bullied staff at Buckingham Palace, and also attacked her later in the day on Twitter for wearing jewelry gifted by a Saudi crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. And so you could see it on his Twitter feed here. And so the shocking comments by Pierce, Andrew Pierce, appeared to question Markle's race, Meghan Markle's race, based on her appearance, echoing a revealing article written by Elle magazine in 2015 by Markle, in which she said that her race made it difficult for her to break through in Hollywood. So we have issues here as well with colorism, and with it. Race is always an issue in the U.S. I don't care what people try to say. Oh, I don't see people for color. We don't live like that. And people, somehow, somewhere, you're going to experience some form of something having to do with race issues here in America and anywhere else for that matter. And it's going to be in some form. It's going to be there. And so I wasn't black enough for the black roles. This is Meghan, the experience she had when she was here. And she says, I wasn't white enough for the white ones. And so leaving me somewhere in the middle as an ethnic chameleon who couldn't book a job. So she added, being a biracial paints a blurred line that is equal parts staggering and illuminating. And so while my mixed heritage may have created a gray area surrounding my self-identification, keeping me with a foot on both sides of the fence, I have come to embrace that. So to say who I am, to share where I'm from, to voice my pride in being a strong, confident, mixed-race woman. On MLK Day, or Martin Luther King Day, 2016, Markle published a moving piece of writing on her now shuttered blog, The Tig, that explored the overt and covert racism that she and her family have experienced throughout their lives. And so Pierce's remarks have generated outrage, commentary on social media. And so this Andrew Pierce, basically, they've been giving Meghan Markle hell over there. The media has, and they've pretty much, the bottom line is they don't accept her because she has black in her. That is the true reason. She's not white enough for them, put it that way. Like she said, she's experienced that over here. Well, over there in Britain, wrong place to go, because it's snooty racism over there. And so you're in a family with nothing but white folks that think they're royal and above all else, then you're going to experience racism, honey. You're not going to be accepted. I don't care how many babies you have and how much that man loves you, and he really does, to have to put all of his royalty down and say, let's go and move somewhere else. He really does care about her and loves her to the utmost to put all of that to the back burner. And then he's probably just said, I've had it. And so it's not only just the race of it too. When his mother Diana was alive, everywhere that woman went, the cameras was following her. And I remember this. And so she couldn't go nowhere. I'm surprised she could even go to the bathroom. Those paparazzis was something else back then. Her life was not private. And so now he's married, he's grown up, and he married this young lady, this beautiful, mixed, politically correct speaking, mixed race woman. And he can't go anywhere. It's no wonder he can go to the bathroom. They had to move. That's how bad that was over there. 5 white men criticizing his wife. I'm through. That is just heartbreaking. So it says, this is from a Twitter person saying, this is what Meghan had to deal with. Listen to how Andrew Pierce defines the attractiveness and diversity of black women or a black woman. It's heartbreaking. And so this is at Gail, at Oprah, at Nina Harris, Robin Roberts, Michelle Obama, Whoopi Goldberg. So this is somebody that apparently they are pretty much relaying how heartbreaking it was and how this man pretty much stigmatized this woman to the point to where he eviscerated her because of her color and her background. In his words, your words can hurt like somebody stabbing you. And they pretty much, they hurt so bad. This woman said that they've had enough of it. They had to move. They cut their ties from all of that. And see, they was trying to be real conservative about what they say because they didn't want to tarnish the family. Because still at the end of the day, that's Harry's family. And so that's her family too through marriage. But they didn't all accept her. See, and they didn't want to come out with all of that. But now they're bringing it out because they have kind of severed a little bit of their royalty from that family and moved somewhere else so they can raise their kids hopefully in peace and not have to worry about those people pretty much damaging her from the ground up to the crown of her head, so it's just awful. So it says nervousness at the palace about what Meghan might reveal in her interview with Oprah intensified today after a new promo clip of Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey was released. And the reason why those people are nervous, because they're racist. They don't want them to tell what's really happened to them and how they were treated. They weren't fully accepted into that royal family because Meghan is, at the end of the day, to them, she's still considered black. They say she's beautiful, but they know who her mother is. They know her family background. They know who she is. She's not white enough. Okay, so let's just be honest. That's what this is about. And so this Andrew Pierce, he put his foot in his mouth, but he was actually revealing how snooty they really are. And so that is snooty racism. And so Winfrey asked, she basically says, she goes into this. So it says that it shows Meghan accused the British royal family of perpetuating falsehoods about her and her husband. So Winfrey asked, how do you feel about the palace hearing you speak your truth today? So Markle responds, I don't know how they could expect that after all of this time that we would still be silent if there is an active role that the firm is playing in perpetuating falsehoods about us. And if that comes with the risk of losing things, there is a lot that has been lost already. Okay, so royals often use the term the firm. That's what they call themselves, to refer to the monarchy. And so the Daily Beast has approached Associated newspapers, peers, employers seeking comment. Okay, and so they're probably not going to get much from Andrew Pierce at this time, because now it's coming to the light of what this woman had endured. And so look at this on here. This was Good Morning. What developing story is Meghan a victim or a bully? And all these men came out and pretty much tore that woman apart verbally, criticizing her. They pretty much put her on display. And so how do you feel about this? I mean, I know we've had our issues here in the U.S., and we have issues with a lot of issues surrounding race and colorism. But this right here, I knew this was coming. And so this basically I knew before they even came back over here, I knew what was going to go down. That they wasn't going to fully accept that woman. No matter how she looked, no matter how she tried to wear her hair, or no matter how she tried to change her ways, she was not going to be fully accepted. And so I'm really sorry to hear about this. But it's probably a good idea that they did move away from that, because that is heartbreaking to have to be in a family, but you're not accepted in the family, and you're married in the family. And, married couples already have a lot of work between the two of them to be married, but to have to go through this, and what did I say? I think I said that many videos ago, that marriage isn't easy. And sometimes marriages don't break up always because of somebody cheating on somebody. Sometimes your family can break you apart. And so you have to make a choice. Is it your family or your spouse that you want to be happy with? Because if your family is unreasonable and they use a race or colorism, or they have an issue with who you with, and this would be one of those situations, you have to make a decision. Is this what I want to stay in a family where people are going to always criticize my wife? That's what Harry's probably thinking. I have a kid by this woman. This is the woman that I chose to marry, and I'm having to go through hell to be with her. Every time we have a sit-down dinner, we can't have a regular sit-down dinner like a loving family without somebody saying something racist, snooty, or something critical of her. And so they probably just said, we're done. We're out of here. Bye-bye. See you later. And we'll send you a postcard. We'll send you Christmas cards or whatever cards. We'll send you something. And, and I'm not saying all the family didn't accept Meghan. I feel like some people were a little uneasy in the beginning, and a few of them tried to learn to accept Meghan. But they had too much of that snootiness and that attitude of racism that's been pretty much that they've learned. And it's in that family. And I believe there's some people that didn't accept her, not because of just her. I think it was her race, who she is. That, she wasn't, like she said, either I'm not black enough or I'm not white enough. And in this case, she wasn't white enough. I really do believe that had something to do with it. And if you look at her, you can tell I don't care what she tried to do, she is not white. I could see she has some white people somewhere in her family, but she ain't white. Now, some people, it takes a while for them to figure it out. But me, I have a good eye for this. I know some people who look like her and they go around saying they white, and they're not white. And I know they're not white, but they want to be white. I know some Hispanic people that do stuff like that, and I know they got somebody black in their family. Sometimes the black person be coming over there, and then they say, "Oh, that's just a friend," and they come to find out it's a cousin, or it's the grandmother, or it's the uncle, or something like that. But they're too embarrassed to say that they have black in their family and they got black in them. And some people are like that. And I'm just being, this is like a raw video right here, because I know some people, it's going to blow some people's heads off the neck, because they never heard nothing like this. And then some people already know what this is. They know what it is before it even come out on the paper, on social media. They knew what this was. Some people, it takes them a while to figure this out. They're scratching their head. Oh, I never heard about this. But this is how, and as black people, we've seen this before. Some of us have seen this. And some of us don't accept other people because they're light skinned. We call it light skin, and stuff like that. And so we have issues, even within our culture, with accepting people. But I don't think there might be some real bad ones out there, but this right here, I believe this was Snooty racism. They were Snooty. They had to take it to the news and be on TV and just really criticizing her. And then the way they talked about Oprah, just insulting. Oh, so what's wrong with black women? Because we have a brown skin or darker skin, so that makes us unattractive? What are you trying to say, Andrew Pierce? So this is the thing. So when I saw this, I was offended, because I'm not, I'm dark skinned. I'm not light like Megan. And yeah, I said it. I'm not, and I'm black. And so I don't think my skin color defines that whether, that makes you an unattractive person because you have dark skin. So that's wrong for him to do that. And so it's very offensive to all black people, whether they dark or light. And so I see why Megan left. And if I was her, I'd be like, kick rocks and keep stepping. Keep stepping, Megan and Harry. Get away from that toxic environment, because that's what that is over there. And just tell them to go on and kick rocks. Look at your back, because you ain't coming back, because you don't want to be a part of that. Because that's the way I look at it. It's insulting to sit up there and do that. And then for them to do this, and look at the men that was talking about her. Look at them. Look at how they look. It's just rude and insulting and nasty and snooty. And so I said that, so this is just awful. And so I would have left too. Because anybody that does something like that, don't even listen and take credibility of what those people are saying. Don't even look at them and think that they're higher than you. In fact, they are so much lower to the ground, underneath the soil, to be so visceral on national TV and pretty much put that woman in a situation where she had to feel like she couldn't even just live her life out there as a normal individual and be with her family. And then I'm sure her family played a part in some of this. And for them to just sit back and not say anything, that right there, if they're royal like that, right away they could have jumped on it and it's like, you guys, we got to hold those men accountable. But you notice they didn't do that? That means that some of those people in that family were not easy for Megan to deal with. I bet you those dinners was something else. Sitting with the royal family, and then some people don't like you because you're not white enough. You're not sophisticated enough. You're not whatever enough. Oh boy. Anyway, I'd like to really see how this whole interview turned out, but this was wrong. And the way they talked about Oprah, ooh, this Andrew, he's got to go. Anyway, I'm gonna let this video go right here. I just thought this was just terrible for people to be like this, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, not at all, that we have people like this. So Megan, I hope that you are doing a lot better and you feel a lot better where you're at. But do not take this stuff personal, because there are real bad individuals out there, and isn't you, it's them that has the problem. Thanks for listening.